It's shortly before 4 o'clock on the West Coast, and this is a continuation of Afternoons LALATE, direct from Wall Street to Main Street, from my home to your home. The latest details coming out about your third stimulus today are very good, as we now learn no less than 3 additional provisions that are in this third stimulus package, which is about to become law. Meantime, our multiple stimulus checks back on point. I'll have the great details coming out of the White House and why 1.9 may not be the final stimulus to get you to the end of the pandemic. Then, FPUC becomes retro. Not as retro as you had hoped for, but certainly more retro. And the payout could be 5 figures for some people who are unemployed all the way to the fall. Meantime, 1 grant, 2 grants, several grants, all big and happening in the third stimulus package. How soon could you see this money? And are vaccine doses really the determining factor about how much stimulus you're going to get next? I have all the big news this afternoon on Third Stimulus Check and Third Stimulus Package. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons LA, the best and most comprehensive financial news channel there is on the map. From Wall Street to Main Street, from my home to your home, recording 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we're delivering the most comprehensive and the most interactive financial news there is. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you also hit that like button. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Get access to PDFs and details about how to get stimulus before anyone else. So you know all the deal provisions. You don't have to guess. You actually have the congressional writings before anyone else. In this video, I'm going to go over all those big items, like the question about checks, how many checks, FPUC, how retro, the grants, how many of them, how soon could you see the stimulus, and finally the question about vaccine doses versus stimulus. Ready to kick it up? Let's go. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here this afternoon is that you're going to get a $1,400 stimulus check. $2,800 for a married couple, $1,400 for children. Again, that's $1,400 for an individual, $2,800 for a married couple, $1,400 for a child. And adult dependents will get $3,200. It's not a question of will or can, it's a question of what day. The procedural maneuvers are the following. A reconciliation bill was finalized yesterday. That reconciliation bill is anchored with the $1.9 trillion third stimulus package of Joe Biden. All they have to do now is call the 1.9 for a vote, the bill, and it's done. There's nothing else left to do. You're going to see over the next couple of days chatter. That chatter is much of nothing. Today you heard that chatter. Will the White House go lower on $1,400 stimulus check? No. Will the White House change the eligibility? No. Will the White House go less than $1.9 trillion? No. Will the White House hear conversations about the subjects? Certainly. We'd love to talk about it. But when followed up with a question whether they're changing the number, they said, no, we're not changing the number. Now, yesterday you had really good news about the possibility of multiple stimulus checks. The White House said very clearly yesterday that they think the $1.9 trillion stimulus package is on the edge of being too small, but it works for now for an urgent purpose, and that they're not adverse from coming back and doing more again later. This is consistent with what Joe Biden said during the campaign trail. Multiple stimulus packages as often as so needed to get to the end of the pandemic. The week had started with a report out of the Congressional Budget Office detailed on this channel that said it expects unemployment and GDP to improve by the end of the year. But late today, in a report detailed right before this video on LALATE, I showed you that Joe Biden's chief economist said that's not the benchmark in determining whether this is the appropriate amount of stimulus. GDP does not tell you how much stimulus you need. So that was reassuring. That basically negates the great GDP news from yesterday and saying it's irrelevant to determining how much stimulus you need. Next, FPUC, is it retro? It is retro, just not as retro as you may have thought. We had been hoping for and promised FPUC retro to July 2020, when FPUC first expired under the first stimulus package. But now there's indications from the Biden camp that FPUC will be $400 a week from the period of time in which the second stimulus runs, all the way up until September 2021. So they will go back and give you an additional $100 for those particular weeks you've gotten $300 so far, and then carry you forward at $400 a week. That means that if you're unemployed from January to September, the run of this third stimulus package, at $400 a week FPUC, that's about $16,000 you could get paid over that run. And that's before we even consider PUA or UI. PUA or UI could be paying you somewhere between $300 to $500 a week. If you made over $19,000, $18,000, please consider enhanced unemployment benefits. I detail it on FPUC, the overnight video, and throughout this channel here as well. 300 plus 400 a week, 700 a week, over 40-something weeks is over $20,000 of unemployment. That's great news. How many grants? Can you keep count? I don't know. Let's get Larry Kudlow's calculator. How many grants are in here? Well, this is the surprise, because yesterday, when Nancy debuted statements about the reconciliation, we learned about more grants than we had ever thought were in the third stimulus package. Initially, this channel had obtained basically a nearly exclusive document from the Biden-Harris camp, which is a 30-page summary of the 6,000 approximate page third stimulus package bill. In there, I detail for you, as one of the PDFs for members of this channel, the 22 items that Joe Biden was delineating. 2 of them were about businesses. One was a business grant. The other one was a business loan. The grant was for existing businesses. The loan was for new businesses. Well, Nancy gave us a surprise yesterday. And I don't mean a new hairstyle. And I don't mean a discount on $12 ice cream either. And I don't mean a showing up at the casino to say hello to Sirloin either. Nancy surprised us with a series of 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 grants that are in the third stimulus package. Wow. So here you go. Let's get ready to go over them and rock and roll. First, the return of the EIDL grant. Wow. Finally, after all this time, since July of 2020, when the EIDL grant closed for everyone, and reopened just a few weeks ago under the second stimulus for 2020 low-income-based community businesses, followed by non-low-income-based businesses, the EIDL grant will be back for everyone. Details of that is pending. How they'll disperse the money is still pending, but this is exciting, great news. Remember, the word grant means free money. It means you don't have to pay the money back. Next, a new grant for restaurants. Wow. The creation of a dedicated grant relief program for restaurants will be in the third stimulus package. This is a new item. Next, there'll be expansion of PPP assistance for nonprofit and digital media services. That's new because they initially did not qualify for PPP. And then there'll be more funds for the Save Our Stage grants for independent live venues. And then new grants for movie theaters and cultural institutions that are independent. And finally, a navigation technical assistance to help underserved communities with critical responses. But there's more. There's another grant on top of that as well. The grant is for Economic Development Administration and Environmental Justice grants to help low-income minority communities who are the hardest hit by COVID. So are there other grants? You never know with this group. I've been telling you, don't be surprised if you see more stimulus in here than we had even thought. Now, how soon and what else? How soon could you see this as a law? The question is ultimately how quickly they get it done. Next few days, we shall see. And how about everything else in the third stimulus package? Yes. I saw someone say in one of the comments, I haven't heard you talk in a few days about. When I don't repeat it, it means I have no new information about it. The other items in the third stimulus package, if you're a member, refer to that January 23rd PDF. They are rent aid, and this also had a big surprise yesterday. Rent aid for low income, middle class, and homeless, which we knew, but a big, big surprise. Mortgage assistance moolah. Yes, there will be money for people to help pay their mortgage. This is not forbearance. This is money. Money for your mortgage. This was a mind-blowing, great news shocker that no one saw coming. Also, all the other existing items that we already knew about are the following. Utility assistance, paid sick leave, up to $1,400 a week if you have to stay home because of the pandemic. Whether it's your child, school closed, or you have to quarantine, or you have COVID, or family member has COVID. If you have to stay home from work, up to $1,400 a week of paid sick leave. That's a lot of money. Then $1,700 of college student financial aid. Next, there's not one, not two, but 3 hazard pay items in there. We still have no more details about the hazard pay. Ultimately, as soon as we see it, I'll deliver it to you as well. But please, please join me every night at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our new hit show, Hazard Pay. It's a tape show with me live in the chat room where I'm answering your questions about who's an essential worker, how do I get $10,000, how do I apply, who applies, what's the calculation, during what duration am I an essential worker, what if I was laid off? All those questions are answered in that great video. So make sure you tune in because that'll help prepare you for hazard pay under this package. Then we have other items. We have not 1, not 2, but 3 tax credits. They're in there as well. Vaccine, then we turn to the question of vaccine versus stimulus. Well, is it a big issue? It is a big issue. Yesterday, Dr. Fauci on overnight interviews said that only 2% of the U.S. economy is currently vaccinated. Joe Biden's stimulus package as written now is dependent upon a series of events happening in the next 90 days. By all account, they won't happen. What is his prediction? 100 million doses vaccinated in 100 days to 100 million people. He's not going to meet that benchmark. 1, there's not enough doses available. 2, there's not enough mechanisms in place to get those people vaccinated. But when will he get progress? By late summer. A new press conference today talked about Joe Biden's attempt to get Americans vastly vaccinated by the end of summer 2021. That benchmark seems to be reasonable. Moderna and Pfizer have ramped up production. Yesterday, Pfizer announced that it will be able to deliver 300 million doses of the Pfizer vaccines by May, 2 months earlier than originally predicted. Number 2, the White House has ordered 200 million doses from both Pfizer and Moderna. Number 3, the White House last night announced that it was rolling out a new project to ensure that the doses are in your local pharmacy and local retail store, big box. So up to 44,000 local pharmacies will be carrying the vaccines in the next few weeks, and 6,000 big box retailers will be carrying as well. This rollout allows Joe Biden to get more people vaccinated and open the economy. But with a date of the late summer, don't be surprised if he's not back with more stimulus because there's not yet enough vaccination doses. If you have questions or comments in today's video, drop them in the comments below. I love to feature them potentially in tomorrow's recording. Meantime, I'm next live right after this recording with What the Chalk. I'll be going over these incredible details about these new numbers for stimulus, these new documents, and these new progress for the Biden camp to get this over the finish line. The recap is that the stimulus package is going to be finalized and voted upon and finished. It's the tow hitch behind the tow truck. All it needs is to call the vote. $1,400 stimulus check for individuals, $2,800 for a married couple, $1,400 for children, $3,200 for adult dependents. As always, stay informed, stay focused. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcito VIP. And stay with LALATE for more.